Good morning, dear students. So, in the last video, I discussed that two types of forces. First is contact force, and the another is non-contact. After that, I'm discussing about inertia, concept of inertia, types of inertia, inertia of rest is failure to allow. Now, in this video, I'm discussing about what is inertia of motion and what is the inertia of direction. So, open your notebook and write the heading inertia of motion. Okay, inertia of motion. So what is the meaning of inertia of motion? What is the example that is related based on inertia of motion? So first of all, right, what is inertia of motion? So it is the ability, it is the inability, sorry, of a body, not to change by itself its state of uniform motion along a straight line. Along a straight. Okay. So what is inertia of motion? It is the inability of a body not to change by itself, its state of uniform motion along a straight line. So the body has the inability not to change by itself. Okay. So what is the examples that is based on the inertia of motion? So here are some examples. So example number one. What is example number one? That is when a moving bus stops suddenly, stops suddenly, a passenger standing in it, passenger standing in it leans forward, leans forward. In practical life, you observe this that if you are standing in a bus and suddenly bus stops, so you are leans forward. Why? Because the body has the inability not to change itself. So that's why a passenger or a person standing in it leans forward. Okay. Now the example number two. What is example number two? That a person getting down, a person getting down from a speeding bus, from a speeding bus falls in the direction of falls in the direction of motion by the bus. By the bus. Okay. So second point is clear. A person getting down from a speeding bus falls in the direction of motion by the bus. Suppose you are falling from the bus, so you are moving in the direction of the bus. Okay. This is happened. Why? Because inertia of motion, that it is the inability of a body not to change. Okay. Third point. Third point is what? An athlete runs. An athlete runs some distance taking a long jump. Before taking a long jump, an athlete runs some distance before taking a long jump because with the help of inertia of motion, the athlete acquired some additional velocity. Okay. Now the fourth point. What is fourth point? That when a passenger sitting in a train moving with a uniform velocity throws a ball vertically upward. So when a passenger sitting in train moving with a uniform velocity throws a ball vertically upward, vertically upward, comma the ball return back to his hand. Okay. Why? Because during its upward and downward motion, the ball continues to move horizontally with the velocity of the train. So all the four examples are clear. Inertia of motion is clear to all of you. Is there any doubt in inertia of motion? No doubt. Okay. So the next heading is inertia of direction. Inertia of direction. Okay. So the heading inertia of direction. So what is inertia of direction? So first of all, explain what is inertia of direction, and after that, give some examples. So inertia of direction, it is the inability. It is the inability of the body by virtue of which by virtue of which it tries to resist a change in its direction of motion. It is the inability of the body by virtue of which it tries to resist a change in its direction of motion. One by one, in all the definition it is written that it is the inability of the body by virtue of which, if they are talking about inertia of rest, then they are talking about change in direction of rest, change in state of rest. They are if they are talking about inertia of motion, then in the last word they are saying that change in the state of motion. Now the third property, that is inertia of direction. So the definition is it is the inability of the body by virtue of which it tries to resist a change in its direction of motion. Okay. So examples are, example number one. So example number one, see. So here are the example number one, that if mud is flying to the surface of the to the mud is flying to the surface of the tire of a car, of the tire of a car. Okay. Second example is when a bus suddenly turns toward right, turns towards right, comma the passenger lean towards left, lean towards left. Okay. Third one is a stone which is tied to one end of a string. To one end of a string revolving in a circle. Revolving in a circle. Flies tangentially. Flies tangentially when the string breaks. When the string breaks. Okay. So these all are the examples which is based on the inertia of direction of motion. Okay. So all of the examples having the explanation of inertia of direction. When a bus is suddenly turned towards right, the passenger lean towards left. Always mud is always flying to the surface of the tire of the car, that means tangential. A stone which is tied to one end of a string revolving in a circle flies. If a string is cut, then always body or stone is moving tangential. Okay, like in Diwali, you all exploding chakar ginni, a firecracker. Fourth point is flames comes out tangentially in a rotating chakar ginni. Chakar ginni. Okay, or we can say firecracker. Okay, so inertia of direction is clear to all of you. Okay, children. So concept of inertia, I think, is clear to all of you. They are basically of three types: inertia of rest, inertia of direction, and inertia of motion. Okay. Okay, friends. Bye bye. Take care, all of you.